on Prime Crime.
Miss Sawyer, she just disappeared in thin air. It was mass chaos.
When a Florida high school honors student full of promise goes missing.
I'm not a monster. I had nothing to do with her disappearance.
A trail of love and betrayal threatens to tear a tight-knit family apart.
Do I think my husband is capable of any of this? No, I don't. But we have a missing piece of the puzzle.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime. This is where we break down the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. When a 16-year-old girl named Ayanna Sawyer suddenly vanishes, her family and police chase down every possible lead. This is a very twisted story that proves quite difficult for authorities to crack.
Jacksonville 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Did I come home from school today? So phone is going straight to Brooklyn. It's not like that. Okay. You have no idea what she is.
December 19th, 2018, started out a normal day. IS was a 16-year-old high school student, a sophomore, straight A student at Terry Parker High School here in Jacksonville, Florida. She also went to school with her sister, SS, who was a year younger in her 9th grade year.
Because Ayanna Sawyer and her sister are minors, investigators sometimes refer to them by their initials, IS and SS, to protect their identities.
Her sister was on a bus and she wasn't. I don't understand why she wasn't on the bus.
Did you ask your sister why?
She said she didn't know, and that's not like her. That's not like them to be together.
When SS calls her mother frantically, stating that IS did not get on the bus, Kimberly Mobley was at work. So she called two of her sisters. One of the sisters called 911 while the other one headed to Terry Parker High School.
Do you think it's foul play?
Ma'am, I have no idea. This is out of character for her. Okay. And for me to call you all, something's wrong.
Her family went crazy. They called 911, they called everyone. It was mass chaos because she just disappeared in thin air.
So IS, she was the firstborn. She was extremely close to her mom. She was extremely loyal. She loved being with her family. She wanted to be either a doctor or a lawyer. She was into her scholastics, being the straight A student. However, sadly, at the age of 16, she was carrying a big secret. And that secret was she was pregnant.
Ayanna is 5 months pregnant. Though she only recently told her mom, the family supports her, and they've even named her unborn baby Hazel Michelle. All they want is to find Ayanna safe and sound.
IS did not attend her last 2 periods of school. Video surveillance showed that she did in fact leave Terry Parker High School at approximately 11 a.m. And we don't know who picked her up because that was outside of camera footage at the time. She has 2 bags. One is full, of course, regular school items such as textbooks, notebooks. And then another bag has a voluminous amount of Victoria's Secret items, a body pillow. The family is left questioning, where is IS?
The consensus between police is that she has left school voluntarily. There was no obvious signs of any force or anything like that.
Our theory of the case is she either ran away and didn't want to be found, or she ran away because her mom wanted to know who the father of the child was. She didn't want to tell, and that led to friction between the two.
The police, they were just trying to do what they could to find her. They did some basic search around the area. They set up the tip line. The family was doing quite a bit. They were looking for anything.
After 2 days of searching, with no sign of Ayanna, police change her status from a runaway to a missing person. Then, her mom makes a disturbing discovery.
Her mom was searching through, her room, through her laptop, through her boxes in her closet, anything she could to determine where she may be. She finds this Word document on Ayanna's laptop that kind of seemed strange.
How do you get to it? Tell me how do you get to it?
I went there in the recycle bin right here.
The recycle bin?
And then she also got other notes over here on the side. If they asked you for a password, she got some of the notes locked. And she got other stuff that she wrote in here about him too, though.
The fact that Ayanna went to such great lengths to keep the documents a secret is as concerning as what she'd written.
It was a couple pages long, and it was a pouring out her heart of this person, Jose, her love for this person, the betrayal of this person.
Ayanna's mom has never heard her talk about Jose. Could it be a code name for someone? Could she have run away with this person? The diary entries are dated February and March 2018, almost a year before Ayanna disappeared. Around that time, Ayanna was in a relationship her mom didn't approve of with an adult neighbor when Ayanna was just 15.
There was a next-door neighbor who lived across the street from Ayanna. He had a relationship with Ayanna, and his name was Kamar Humphrey. I mean, the person that was accused of her, 9 months earlier is very much someone who I would be looking into very deeply when she goes missing.
Authorities have legitimate cause for concern about Humphrey. In March 2018, at Ayanna's mom's insistence, they'd obtained a DNA swab from him He admitted to having sex with Ayanna at least once, and the DNA confirmed it.
Under Florida law, he was listed as a sexual offender because he was over the age of 18 and she was under the age of 16.
The time period that was done that we can confirm there was a sexual relationship is outside of the time period that she would have conceived, but we have always asked, did that relationship continue on? And we know it went on for months just based on the conversations that she had with friends. He's a viable suspect for the father of her child.
Police ask Humphrey where he was the day Ayanna went missing. When he shows proof he was out of town, investigators have to rule him out. But if he's not Jose, who is? That's when a new name comes into the mix: Jonathan Quilez.
She confronts Ayanna's sister, and Ayanna's sister's the one who says, oh, that's Jose is Uncle John. So Ayanna was John's niece by marriage. He was Uncle John to Ayanna and to the other siblings as well. They were very close. His wife and him both took care of the kids on a regular basis. They would spend time at their house. John, really charismatic guy. He's very likable. He was a mechanic. He was a handyman. He had a good family life, was working, doing well, married, had a kid, another one on the way at the time.
Ayanna's mom knows the two are very close, but if Uncle John, aka Jonathan Quilez, is the Jose in Ayanna's diary, did things go too far? Her mom is determined to get to the bottom of whatever is going on. She calls police, and they head over to his house.
Hey, John, what's going on?
This is crazy.
All this just got dropped
happened,
on me. Like
both of us. I was just trying to get a damn guy to sign a lease over there, and I'm coming back. I see patrol cars in my dang house.
He arrived while they were there. He was calm, cool, and collective. I'm here to help.
We literally had their kids, her kids, for summers. Summer at a time, and then weekends. All of them. If we knew where she was at, we would have been the first ones to grab her ass and bring her over.
Yeah, exactly.
We're posting stuff on our Facebook trying to find her the same way they are.
He did not know anything. He didn't have any involvement. Even his wife, was defending him and that he would never do anything to harm IS.
So I'm gonna tell you, with regards to this here, do I think my husband is capable of any of this? No, I don't. But I don't. We have a missing piece of the puzzle.
Police tell the couple they have a warrant to search the house.
You got free reign.
I'll hang out here. They'll go in and look.
Okay, that's cool.
And then we'll take it. We'll go from there. So you guys hang tight for me?
Yeah, it's not a
I'll be right back.
Naomi and John say, hey, search our house, do what you need to do, look through, because, she's not here. We have nothing to do with it.
You got all the rooms?
Yeah.
Okay, so
The backyard.
yeah, let's look at the back. Let's look at the backyard? Sure.
Even one of the officers found it kind of funny because Jonathan's sitting there, he's like, hey, come on in, whatever you guys need. You want something to eat? You want something to drink? And he's inviting him in like he's one of the family.
But Quilez and his wife do admit that Ayanna's mom voiced her concerns about Quilez's contact with her daughter since she found the document on her laptop.
Once that all happened, we got blocked completely from having any communication.
But then the girl said, well, we can't speak with you now because we blocked. Mama said to block you, so we got to wait until this passes over.
Okay.
So, I mean, the same, but it's not uncommon.
Yeah, this happened before, and then they come and they'll stay, weekends over here at the house.
It seems like the relationship was a little more complicated than anyone initially thought. Then, the couple makes another statement that seems to catch officers by surprise.
So while talking about, well, do you know any items that are missing of IS's? Well, the wife had stated when she left, she took a lot of her Victoria's Secret undergarments.
Jonathan Quilez is even more specific.
Oh yeah, her 38 pair, indicating that she had taken 38 pairs of Victoria's Secret undergarments with her. How someone in a family relationship would know that is obviously very odd.
As cooperative as Quilez has been, officers sense something is off.
She said that she knows who the father was, but she ain't saying.
Oh, she did know?
Yeah, she knows who the father of her child was, and she just. But then you can't really take anything that she's saying serious because now that she's been gone, I question literally everything.
Police there wanting to talk to John about, have you had a sexual relationship with Ayanna? And so it's just, they were investigating him, at least trying to find out.
When Quilez was brought in for questioning, he acted like you would expect. He denied everything, said he didn't know anything, and he lamented the fact that his niece was missing.
December 27th, 2018, about a week after 16-year-old Ayanna Sawyer, or IS, disappeared. It's especially concerning because she's pregnant. Police have brought in her uncle, Jonathan Quilez, for an interview. They press him about the diary his niece wrote that indicates the two had sexual relations. He denies any inappropriate contact and has even provided his DNA to police.
You guys took my DNA
Right.
at the house. I don't have nothing to hide. You are looking at the wrong person. I have nothing to do with that girl disappearing whatsoever.
They don't arrest him that day. They detain him, they talk to him, but then they release him.
However, Quilez has raised enough suspicions that a few days later, police turn the investigation over to homicide detective Abbott, who immediately processes the DNA Quilez provided.
It was submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement here, and a rush was put onto it because what we had learned was that a sexual assault kit involving IS had been submitted back in March of 2018, and there was unknown DNA.
The results showed DNA from neighbor Kamar Humphrey, which was expected since he and Ayanna had had a relationship, but the unknown DNA was additional. Could it be her Uncle John's?
Well, on January 7th, 2019, a shock came. Jonathan Quilez' DNA was on IS's panties. Complete, utter shock. It only heightened that Jonathan Quilez was definitely a person of interest. Then a bombshell hit. A phone call comes in to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. That individual identified himself as Joseph Quilez, Jonathan Quilez's brother. And oh boy, did he have a story to tell. Jonathan Quilez had called his brother. He stated it was either December 19th, 2018 or December 20th, 2018, that his brother was frantic, stating that this girl might be pregnant, it might be mine, and I have to get rid of the body. Joseph Quilez then stated his brother hung up the phone However, some time later, he called back calmer, not upset, not nervous, said he had taken care of it.
When Joseph asks his brother to explain, Quilez reportedly gets surprisingly specific.
Jonathan Quilez tells his brother that he lured her to his work in an area where no video surveillance, no other workers, it's loud, and he went to strangle her, but he couldn't stomach it, so he shot her. He then put her body in a dumpster, and then it's done. He now can move on, and his life won't be ruined.
His brother was like, I don't believe my brother did this, but it made me feel very uneasy that if I didn't call and report it and something had happened, that it would haunt him.
Armed with this shocking new information, Detective Abbott and a colleague from Special Assault bring Quilez back in for another interview.
How are you?
How you doing? I've had better days.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot happened. We need to talk about, okay?
At this time, Detective Billy Abbott has spoken to Joseph Quilez, and now he is looking at this closer to a homicide investigation.
The girls would come over to your house and you do like trips to the beach.
Yeah,
trips to the
we always when to go with the pool we
What
had
about
the pool we had at the house.
They would stay the night. They'd spend
Yeah,
time
they'll
at your
spend
house. And there was
the whole
anybody-
summer.
So you're doing all these things with the girls,
No, with all of them.
right? With the kids.
All of the kids.
But,
yeah,
But then they're accusing you of messing with the girls.
correct. Yeah, and this is they came out with that. They started like real heavy with it when went with that boy across the street and doing all that. That's when it started like really thick.
Jonathan Quilez was trying to do anything and everything to show how it was not him, that it could be this other individual, or she might have had another boyfriend in her life.
So now is missing. She ran away or whatnot. Now here I am sitting in the hot seat because is mentioning me as that I'm Mr. Jose.
Okay.
So
Do you know who she ran away with?
I don't. I've been expecting call me, text me, anything. Snapchat me, smoke signal.
Quilez painted himself as the victim himself. He's being unfairly tarnished by this belief he had an inappropriate relationship with his niece.
So if I were to tell you that I found some underwear that had your DNA in it, how would you explain that?
I would say that is not, there's no way in shape in any form.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way.
So with the case across the street, there was a kit done.
Correct.
And she was wearing specific clothes to include underwear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she told me that was one of her biggest pet peeves, that they took underwear from her.
Okay. So that's what he's talking
That's
about.
what I was referring to.
That wasn't my DNA. That I didn't.
100%.
No way.
It's DNA. Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a monster. I don't think you're a monster at all. Okay? I think maybe they came on to you and things went a little too far. It happens all the time.
What exactly are they accusing me of? What exactly are they saying I did? Okay, well, now they're making suggestions that I'm having the sexual relationship or that I had something to do with her going missing, and I absolutely did not.
Look at her face.
I could look at her face.
They need closure.
I'm not a monster. I had nothing to do with her disappearance. I had nothing to do with her disappearance at all.
So the whole family's off. Is a liar. Your brother who loves you is just crazy. Right? Everyone's just circling Jonathan.
The last I spoke with my brother, he was all bent out of shape. And I'm like, hold on, bro. You got this all twisted. I didn't do nothing. I have no idea what the hell happened with this young lady. Any of that. So
Then how did he have all those details?
I don't know how he had all those details. I'm sorry. I don't know how he had any of those details.
And he said he didn't believe you at first. He thought you were kidding. But it was so detailed.
No. I'm sorry. Nope.
He really is just kind of like, you know what? There's nothing I can do at this point. You've already made up your minds. You haven't looked anywhere else. I'm not the person, but you're convinced that I am.
So Jonathan, is there anything else you'd like to say?
There's nothing else I would like to say.
Okay. Then at this point, I'm going to place you under arrest for sexual battery. It's a first-degree felony. So if you'll stand up and turn around and face the wall, place your hands behind your back.
Now, Jonathan Quilles is the #1 suspect in the disappearance of IS and now the murder of IS and her unborn child.
You been praying for? Huh? You been praying? I haven't stopped praying. I've been praying this whole time. You have to forgive me? I can forgive this.
Jonathan Quilles is being held at the Duval County Jail on charges of sexual battery in connection with the disappearance of his niece, Ayanna Sawyer, or IS. When police interviewed Quilles, he denied any wrongdoing, but Detective Abbott has gathered some powerful evidence against him, including DNA and a confession Quilles apparently made to his own brother. Now, Abbott decides to see what else he can gather, this time from inside the jail.
Detective Abbott, through his partners and his homicide team, they were able to get into contact with some other inmates. One of the inmates then was wired up, and through the instructions that Detective Abbott and his homicide team had given this inmate was, see what Jonathan Quilles will tell you.
Just 2 days later, the detective's plan seems to pay off.
You did good by doing it, getting rid of the body and all that.
Why would they point the finger at you? Because of my brother.
So why did you kill her? If you didn't think she was going to jail, or you just felt like it was going to hit the fan and later on.
Yeah, she was 16 when she came out that she was pregnant. There's a possibility that was mine.
When Jonathan starts talking, he doesn't know how to stop, and he just keeps going. His biggest flaw is he's a chatterbox.
When you saw that, wherever the... Oh, you shot at the job and left it there overnight?
This girl would have jumped out screaming anything.
So what about the cameras?
The camera system. It's like everything blurry, nothing is focused. And that's the thing, the cameras do work, but they suspect. In a speaker part, there's so many spots you could throw over the gate.
I guess by you killing her, you did the right thing, because you probably be in a worse situation than she was living.
The challenge with jailhouse snitches is that you could have some doubts, well, he's just bragging in prison because he wants to have some street cred there. But his words are his words, and when you compare that to his own brother's comments and Miss Sawyer's younger sister's words that Jose was Jonathan, now the evidence is really starting to pile up.
After Detective Abbott reviews this audio recording, the determination was, I gotta get to Ace Pickle Part. I gotta make sure that we get that video surveillance.
Ace Pick-A-Part You Pull It is the auto salvage yard where Jonathan Quilles works. Video surveillance from December 19th, the day Ayanna disappeared, could answer a lot of questions and confirm or deny Quilles' statements.
Surveillance video showed that Mr. Quilles left his work around the time when the niece went missing from school, so he could have left from work to go pick up Miss Sawyer, but there's no clear-cut evidence of that because he had an alternate explanation. He was leaving for work purposes. It was his lunch break. And there is no specific video that shows Mr. Quilles with Miss Sawyer around that time.
Jonathan said that he was asked to go up to Fastenal, up near the airport, to pick up some parts. If he went and picked up IS, how could he be all the way up near the airport, which is over 30 minutes away? He can't be over at Terry Parker High School picking her up.
However, authorities allege that Quilles drove to an area of the yard that had no cameras and was off limits to most employees, where he purportedly shot Ayanna. Investigators pieced together what happened next from the wiretap recording.
Got shot.
Got rid of the weapon? You seen the gun off there, nigga?
Went to the gun range the same day.
Police end up finding his signature on the sign-in sheet at the range and the gun in his closet.
He went to the gun range and shot the gun. The only thing I can think of about that statement is maybe he thought some Forensic evidence could show that the gun had been recently shot.
If that was Quilles's plan, it seems like it worked.
There's no blood evidence, there's no DNA, there's nothing on your gun. And it's alleged that he shot her at close range, like in the heart even. The physical evidence didn't line up with what we were expecting to see.
Investigators check every vehicle in the yard and find no trace of Ayanna.
So what police had was a theory that he shot Miss Sawyer and then dumped her body in a dumpster that was quickly removed. But there was a lack of physical evidence here.
Based on what Quilles has said, Detective Abbott follows up on the dumpster.
Detective Abbott learns on December 20th, 2018, All American Garbage picks up the container. It went to Otis Road landfill. So Detective Abbott then makes contact with the Otis Road landfill.
The sheriff's office spent over $1.5 million over 3 weeks to go through and excavate this landfill. It was almost 80 feet deep. The tons and tons of trash that was moved, even by their own account, was monumental in nature. And they found nothing over a 3-week period of time.
They couldn't find anything that directly tied Mr. Quilles to Miss Sawyer's disappearance. They found some articles of clothing that they thought were Miss Sawyer's, but the sizes were a little different. It was some Victoria's Secret clothing, and it could have been her clothing, especially as she was carrying a baby, but it's not 100% clear to law enforcement that they've got the goods.
With no physical evidence, the question is whether the evidence investigators do have is enough to indict Jonathan Quilles in the murder of his niece and her unborn child.
You have Miss Sawyer's younger sister saying that Mr. Quilles was Jose. You also have Mr. Quilles' own brother saying that Quilles confessed to him. And you also have wiretaps now.
On July 18th, 2019, about 6 months after Ayanna Sawyer disappeared, investigators send Jonathan Quilles' case to a grand jury.
And thinking about, well, what kind of charges are we going to do? Well, ultimately, it was decided that we were going to do first-degree murder. And the reasons why we were going to do those particular charges, and also in the state of Florida, we can do that for an unborn child. So we knew there was going to be 2 counts for that.
The list of evidence the detectives present pays off.
We met with the grand jury today on your case as well as several others, and you are being indicted on first-degree murder. The 3rd count is going to be sexual battery. Okay? We need to advise you of that.
Okay.
All right. We would like to talk to you if you're willing to speak with us.
I have an attorney that's representing me. She doesn't want me to talk to nobody without her being present.
Considering the charges that he was facing, he had good spirits. He was pretty confident in how he spoke and very clear, concise. We talked about a lot of the alternative explanations or alternative options, alternative suspects.
After the grand jury indictment, Jonathan Quilles' case doesn't go to trial for another 4 years.
You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, sir, so you're charged with an indictment. Count 1 is murder in the first degree, count 2 is murder in the first degree, count 3 is sexual battery.
Jonathan Quilles' trial begins on September 14th, 2023 in Jacksonville, Florida's Duval County Courthouse. He pleads not guilty to all 3 counts against him in the murder and sexual battery of his pregnant niece Ayanna Sawyer, whose body has never been found, and her unborn child.
If you're found guilty of any one of those charges, there is the possibility that you can spend the rest of your natural-born life in prison. Do you understand that?
I do.
And the death penalty is also on the table.
The girl might be pregnant. I can't lose my family if she has the baby. I have to get rid of the body. She was 16. Did you shoot her? Did you shoot her in the head? Heart.
Once they heard everything, that puzzle was built, that picture was painted, that they would know beyond every reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jonathan Quiles, killed his family member because he could not let the world know that he fathered an underage juvenile child.
The defense responds, telling the jury, not so fast.
They have to prove that Mr. Quiles is the one that committed this crime. There will be no direct evidence to say that he did. You will not hear it.
Investigating and looking through the evidence that the state had gathered, the glaring issue again and again was the lack of physical evidence that they had.
There will be no DNA to say he's the father. They will not be able to prove that Jonathan Quiles is in fact the father of the unborn child. They don't have a body. Therefore, we believe they cannot meet their burden of premeditated murder. And therefore, we believe there will be reasonable doubt.
The biggest challenge for prosecutors is that we're living in a time when people expect to see DNA, direct evidence via video, and if you don't have a body, you don't have a murder weapon, and your case is largely circumstantial, it's tough to convince juries that you should send this person to jail for life or even the death penalty.
The state of Florida is banking on a strong slate of witnesses, along with purported admissions of guilt made by Jonathan Quiles himself to his brother and jailhouse informants. Naomi Mobley, Ayanna's aunt and Jonathan Quiles' now ex-wife, at whose home Ayanna spent so much time, testifies. She says she was initially defensive when her sister said Jonathan was behaving inappropriately with their niece, but when her sister showed her Snapchats between the two, she changed her tune.
What, if anything, did you do thereafter?
I told him at that time that he needed to stop speaking with my nieces and he needs to give my family space. I said that it looks really bad and he needs to distance himself.
Did you learn thereafter whether or not he stopped speaking and or communicating?
I learned after that he did in fact continue speaking with them.
So what are we looking at in State 64?
These are the messages from Snapchat.
The Snapchats from Jonathan Quiles in the months leading up to Ayanna's disappearance were sometimes sexually explicit and even seemingly threatening.
9/4/2018, 9/27. I'm very aggravated right now. I'm going to hit you later. 9/7/2018, 12/21. Yeah, so I need you to be like 100% with me at all times. I'm just so in love with you. I'll kill you and cry.
There was a change in his behavior after she went missing. Prior to that, he was fidgety and nervous. He was restless. After she went missing, then he slept like a baby.
Quiles' brother Joseph also gives emotional testimony about his conversations with Jonathan. As evidenced by their phone records, they talked 4 times between December 18th and 20th, 2018, the time period of Ayanna's disappearance. Joseph could tell his brother wasn't acting like himself.
His demeanor was a little off. It was kind of like he was nervous or a little panicky about something.
Have you heard your brother sound panicky to you on previous occasions?
No, he was more concerned about what is he going to do with the young lady in question. That she might be pregnant, and what is he going to do? He doesn't want to ruin his family and mess up what he has already going on.
In their last conversation, Jonathan Quiles seemingly finally came clean about what exactly he did on December 19th, 2018. He'd picked up Ayanna from school, telling her they would run away and be together.
He had her sitting in a vehicle, waiting. He tried to strangle her. It didn't work out. He couldn't stomach it. And so then he later shot her in the chest. And then he proceeded to discard the body by transporting it into a dumpster and destroying the vehicle
Mr. Quiles, were you surprised by what he told you?
Absolutely.
On December 20th, Joseph wrote his brother a heartfelt text, which the prosecutor reads in court.
I can't talk to you right now. I have to stay firm on my decision. What you told me isn't some joke or something you like about. So yes, I told the police because they needed to know. I'm sorry I have to do the right thing for that girl and her family, not the right thing for you and your selfishness. I hate to lose you, but I'd rather that the girl's family have some peace. If you're innocent, then you don't need to worry and they won't find her body. But if you're not, they're going to find her. And in that case, I already lost my brother.
Prosecutors argue Jonathan Quiles had also told his story to jailhouse informants, including an inmate who, ironically, Quiles met in a Bible study group.
Tell this jury what he said to you.
Choked her. He pulled his gun out and shot her.
What, if anything, did he tell you with what he did with her once he shot her?
Once he shot her, he threw her body in the dumpster.
You shot her? How you killed her? You don't mind me asking, I'm just blunt.
Yeah, I know.
I know you don't really want to talk about it. It's all going to be able to get rid of the body.
See, I dump garbage over at the landfill and be buried under like 3 feet of garbage.
When the inmate had testified and we played that wire, we no longer had to say, this is what Jonathan Quiles said, believe the state of Florida. It was listen to him himself.
You could watch the jurors' reaction of Jonathan on that wire and what he said and how he said it. You could literally watch the jurors change the entire demeanor of how they felt about the case. 8 out of the 12 jurors, almost in unison, turned their heads, looked right at us, and you could just read the look on their faces like, you're done.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Verdict count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Verdict count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of engaging in an act that constitutes sexual battery.
If he hadn't started talking, if he hadn't done that, there was more than enough reasonable doubt if his own words hadn't walked them through it for the state.
After almost 5 years of living and breathing IS's case, getting to know IS, seeing IS's picture every day in my office, the best words ever were heard, guilty.
As the case reaches the penalty phase, the question the jury will deliberate next is whether Jonathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison or death.
Jonathan Quiles is now a 2-time convicted murderer. Each of you know the horrendous facts that occurred in this case. Each of you did justice when you convicted the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt of premeditated murder of IS and the premeditated murder of IS's unborn child. And we'll ask you all to render a vote of death.
State of Florida did hope that they would come back and recommend death. That's why we sought it to begin with, given the totality of the evidence in this case.
The defense had hoped for a different outcome.
We're asking you to save his life. Does he deserve it? You probably don't think so. But is there something there worth saving? Is there something there that would make you all come back and say life without the possibility of parole is appropriate? We were able to put on witnesses, his family, a psychologist that evaluated him, to humanize him, really, at the end of the day, to make it so that you could understand that this is a life worth saving.
The jury is decisive once again.
We, the jury, find Jonathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It was disappointing. However, we respect the process of our system, and ultimately we were just beyond ecstatic that they had found guilty verdicts.
When they came back for life, that was the biggest sigh of relief. I really felt like at that point, that was the best thing that we could do for him as his attorneys, was to save his life. That was a huge win for us.
ultimately, our judge did 3 consecutive life sentences. So, state of Florida, on behalf of IS, her unborn child, and the family, felt that justice had been served, the truth had been sought, and it had been seen and shown.
Wearing a t-shirt bearing the name of Ayanna's unborn daughter, Hazel, her mom reflects on her loss.
Ayanna was full of life and wanted to do so many things. She wanted to be a pediatrician. I thought about being a lawyer. To my mom, she was going to be a lawyer because she could talk her way out of almost anything. She was everything you could ask for in a daughter. We were so close. She was my first love.
It was a case that was beyond different than anything I had experienced as a prosecutor. You get to know IS through her death. You get to know her unborn child. You get to know her family. She is a part of me.
I would never hear her say, "I love you." I would never receive another FaceTime from her while I'm at work. I thank God for the 16 years that I was able to spend with her. Until we meet again, I love you forever.
Yes, the jury found the right person accountable. However, IS is forever gone. Not only just forever gone, she's forever 16.
Every murder is a tragedy, but there's something especially heinous and cruel about the taking of a young life. And that is underscored by the fact that Ayanna and her unborn daughter were murdered by a trusted member of their own family, denying them both promising futures. That's all we have for you here on this episode of Prime Crime, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jesse Weber, and until next time, stay safe. On Prime Crime.
He was going to go play with his friend, and he didn't come back.
The disappearance of an 11-year-old boy.
The whole community came out in full force. Everyone wanted to find this boy.
Turns into a devastating tale full of lies and betrayal.
The guy was in there. He had one of the guns. And I was terrified. So terrified.
The investigators started to see that something didn't quite fit here. Something was off.
Hey there, everybody, I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down some of the most compelling and memorable true crime cases. In our next story about the disappearance of a young Colorado boy, you need to hang on, because this story goes in all different kinds of confusing and chilling directions.
El Paso County 911. My son was supposed to be home at 6 o'clock, and it's almost 7. He's only 11. Okay. What's his name? Gannon.
It's January 27th, 2020, Colorado Springs, Colorado. 36-year-old Leticia Stauch, who's married to husband Albert Stauch, is calling to report that her stepson, 11-year-old Gannon, has gone missing.
When was he last seen? Maybe around like 3:30 maybe? Has this ever happened before? No.
11-year-old children don't just disappear off the face of the earth. That automatically put everybody on edge.
So we went to the neighbor's house. My daughter just went to Stingray Park, and he's not there. And who was the last person to see him? I guess me.
Our assignment desk gets the notification a 11-year-old boy is missing in this nice little community called Lorson Ranch. There was a lot of fear, there was a lot of concern of where he could be.
Hey, can we come in?
Hours later, police arrive at the Stauch's home to talk to Leticia, her daughter Harley, and Gannon's sister Lena, while Albert, Gannon's biological father, is out of town for work.
He was supposed to be here at 6 o'clock because we were going to eat dinner, and his dad never told him he could play with his friend. And he didn't come back at 6, so we drive to the neighbor's house, and they're like, no, he's not here.
It didn't seem like there was enough urgency in her voice. It seemed like she was not scattering in terms of her thoughts of what's going on, my stepson is missing. It was more like she was trying to piece it together.
You have talked to all of his friends' parents?
My husband did. He's been on the phone with a bunch of them. He's in Oklahoma. Now, he said he's talked to everyone that he knows of.
We had heard he went to a friend's house, but all of the community couldn't find him anywhere. At first, we had heard rumors this boy could have been a runaway.
The next morning, Albert arrives back home from a training session with the National Guard. He and Leticia meet with detectives at a coffee shop to gain some insight on where Gannon could have gone.
He told her he was going to play, which they do all the time. Maybe he's 10 minutes late, but nothing like this. The big deal here is he's a homebody. He would rather be at home playing his little Nintendo or, watching cartoons. So he's not one just to walk off.
We're talking about January in the Colorado Rockies. It's cold. In fact, there was a pretty heavy snowstorm that occurred in the days following Gannon's disappearance. The likelihood that an 11-year-old child without substantial help from somebody outside the home could survive during that period of time greatly diminished the chances that we were going to find him alive and return him to his family.
Training, I had to come home emergency, but he did not look distressed. Lost some time. Braden is his name.
What's Braden's last name?
I don't know. I mean, I got his parents' phone numbers and we talk to him all the time.
Connor, I know. But Connor plays the register.
There's a Connor, but he goes.
There'd be so many tips coming into the sheriff's office. They had to have a separate line. So many people thinking they had seen him, turning out not to have seen him. This boy's disappearance was gaining not only statewide attention, but quickly worldwide, nationwide, online, social media, and there was just so much mystery, so much curiosity, so much concern.
Then, the day after Gannon disappeared, Leticia tells an investigator she has something to share.
So initially you didn't tell me some things because Albert was there.
And Leticia, saying she wasn't able to speak freely while Al was around, comes into the police station to talk once more. But this time, she says she wants to tell officials what really happened.
Take me through Sunday into Monday and be as detailed as possible.
Sunday, Gannon had started a candle. The fire thing went off. It started saying fire, 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 fire. So then I see smoke coming up from the downstairs. So then I ran back downstairs to get Gannon.
There's this story that kept being brought up about a candle. What we heard was that he was maybe playing with his Nintendo Switch by a candle, and maybe he shouldn't have been on his Switch, and that his stepmother came downstairs and he got scared and knocked this candle over.
The fire was on the floor over here, then on the sofa. There was covers everywhere. I take a whole bunch of them and I go and basically smash down on the sofa and the fire to put it out. Honestly, we were gonna fix the carpet and try to not say anything. Albert freaks out about every little thing. So that's where Sunday kind of stopped and everybody went to bed.
But as Leticia gets to the day of Gannon's disappearance, her story couldn't be more different than what she originally told police, as now she says someone else was involved.
And I know there's two things I gotta fix. Number one, I need to fix the carpet, and number two, I need to figure out, does Gannon need to go get some burn cream or whatever? Lorson Ranch is a bunch of new builds, construction. So I pulled up and I was like, hey, do you know where you can get the carpet that is in the Lorson Ranch model home? So we got the carpet from the guy in the construction area. Well, I didn't get it done. He said he was going to bring it to me. So I gave him the address, and this is where I messed up. I gave him our code to get in, because he was going to go fix it. And me and Gannon left. We went some places around town.
Initially, we had heard he had left to go to a friend's house and didn't come back. Then after days and no one finding any trace of that ever happening, there was news stories that someone came in the house.
We started to head home. As we got inside, I heard something. And I just started walking downstairs, opened the storage closet, and he was standing in there. He had on gloves. He had one of the guns. And I was terrified. So terrified. And then he just knocked me down and he was hitting on me. He was trying to It's all my fault because I gave him our code to fix the carpet. Okay. And I shouldn't have.
This is where we hear the story of her being attacked, that someone broke into the home, attacked her, and attacked Gannon, and then took Gannon. And here's another layer to a different story that she's now providing investigators.
I swear to God, I don't know what happened from there. I really don't know. I kind of like blacked out just a little bit.
Investigators begin looking into what Leticia's telling them, but in order to do that, they need to examine Leticia herself for evidence, something that appears to get her agitated.
We had talked earlier about whether or not it would be able to take action at this point as far as like gathering evidence, whether it had been too long, and I told you that it wasn't.
Right.
Is that something that you're willing to do?
Yes, definitely. I would do anything for you to figure out who Eduardo is.
We'd like to get you over to the hospital for that.
No, I would totally do that, but I really am. I just want to get some food and take a minute, and I can drive myself to the hospital.
The investigators started to see that something didn't quite fit here. Something was off.
Okay, you said I was free to go.
Are you wanting to leave right now?
I'm really hungry. I'm thirsty. Look at my lips. They're chapped.
Can you give me just a few minutes?
She said that I would be able to go.
And I'm not saying that you can't. I'm asking if you can give me a few minutes. That's all.
I can. If you can, you just call me, or I have to maintain my mental health in this whole situation.
Investigators need to work quickly to find Gannon, but now they aren't sure what to believe.
The whole community came out in full force. We're just trying to find any clues as to where this boy is, if he's okay, if he's in our state, if he's in the country, if he's alive.
It's January 2020. 11-year-old Gannon Stauch has been reported missing from his El Paso County, Colorado home. Gannon's stepmother, Leticia Stauch, initially reported the boy went to play at a friend's house and never came home for dinner. But a day later, she meets with investigators and changes the story, saying he had actually been kidnapped and that she had been sexually assaulted by a construction worker from a new home being built nearby.
Then when I get downstairs, he has the gun, and he has Gannon, and then he was like on top of me again, and then I kind of lied out again because he just hit my head.
But towards the end of the interview, Leticia starts getting combative when being asked to submit for a sexual assault examination.
It would be better to get the forensic exam
I'm not
done
going over there like
before you
not
take a shower.
not like cleaned. I'm not doing that. That's disgusting. I'm not doing that. But I will gladly go.
But you realize that's how we gather evidence, right? So if you go take a shower right now, and I understand that you're like uncomfortable, I would like to get you over to the hospital to get the exam done.
Okay, well, then I'm driving myself there.
She was transported to the hospital so that a sexual assault examination can be conducted, but at the hospital refuses to undergo that sexual assault examination. She's really trying to set up this idea, and yet she's not willing to give up any evidence that would help us find that person.
Sit down on the couch.
Sir, I can't breathe. I'm just asking you to open the door.
She portrays undergoing a very severe anxiety attack to try to get out of the interview.
Now we're going to have to call you an ambulance because you said you got chest pain.
I just told you I have chest pains. It's claustrophobic. I
Okay,
couldn't breathe.
so we're going to call you an ambulance. Yeah, well, you
And
weren't claustrophobic until...
Excuse me. I take lorazepam every day, and if I don't take it, I could have a panic attack.
That requires them to bring in paramedics, and they find that she's perfectly normal. She knows that the investigation is starting to zero in on her.
Leticia has now told authorities multiple versions of what happened to Gannon, and rumors about what occurred begin circling the neighborhood.
You were the last person to see him, is that right?
Correct.
Leticia agrees to speak with a local reporter, saying she wants to clear everything up, but it seems it only complicates things further.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community, I haven't been there to help.
There was just some weird things that kind of stood out based on her demeanor and all of that. You're speaking with someone that is in the center of the most heartbreaking situation you could imagine, that might have known some answers and couldn't tell the public to try to help.
I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. They have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have, my family has.
She would always say that she really loved Gannon and that Gannon was the favorite stepchild of hers. But it's very clear from the way that she would treat the kid that in fact he was the least favorite child in the house. Gannon was, by all accounts, a mama's boy. And that caused Leticia to be jealous of that relationship that Gannon had with his biological mother.
Any message for Gannon?
Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone.
We love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon.
In the middle of that interview, she's talking about Gannon as if he's going to come home, and then she switches and starts talking about him in the past tense.
He was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. He was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. He was so sweet and such a kind heart.
That was a big clue for us, and it did sort of put the investigation on a different track.
Detectives still aren't totally clear on what happened the day Gannon disappeared, yet they suspect Leticia might know more than she's letting on. At this point, even Al Stauch, Leticia's husband and Gannon's biological father, tries to get answers out of Leticia.
I'm trying to do what I can outside of the law enforcement because you don't freaking trust them anyways.
Do you trust them?
Not based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going straight to the last person that saw him.
If I would be the last person that saw him, then I would be the person that has him.
Al expresses concerns that Leticia is holding back information, so he agrees to allow investigators to record their phone calls.
If you know it's an accident, are you going to stand by me?
Yes, absolutely, Tisha.
I'm sorry for all the stories. I just didn't know what to do. So we were going to get your look at him to get your bike. I was letting get it right. It was really big, so the guy was helping. And he fell off of it and he got hurt bad.
She comes up with a story about looking for a bike to buy for Al and how she and Gannon had gone up there to look at the bike. She describes in very elaborate detail Gannon test riding the bike, crashing, hitting his head.
He was bleeding.
Where was he bleeding from?
His arms, his knees, his hand.
There was a piece of wood with blood on it found in a remote area, ways away from the house. That was a huge part of the case.
When we found the board up in southern Douglas County, she had to explain why Gannon's DNA would be found on that board. And what we learned throughout those phone calls is, one, the level of lying that she was willing to undergo to deflect the investigation away from being pointed at her, but also she was giving us little clues throughout where she would actually include small snippets of truth, but she would do it in a way that would explain away why that truth existed and why somebody else was responsible for that truth.
I didn't have a phone to call 911. They're supposed to be taking him back and I called 911.
So the guy took him to take him to 911? The Craigslist guy? Quincy Brown or whatever.
I swear to God, Quincy's real.
There were several names. We heard Eduardo and Uncle Mike, a Quincy Brown. This was someone with a criminal record.
What I'm trying to work out with you here is just the freaking truth.
Alfred, I'm telling you, he hurt Gannon. I was tied.
Okay, well, who is he? Who tied you up? Who did this? You didn't do it. Who did it? Who hurt Gannon? Who has Gannon?
Alfred, they're gonna kill me.
Who is they? These are the questions I need to know.
He first told me his name was Eduardo, but it's not. It's Quincy Brown.
There was really no connection, though. Al got the same stories, and there was never really full context to these stories.
So Quincy Brown is the one who has him. Quincy Brown is the one holding Gannon for all the money? And you didn't tell me. So 3 weeks now, you've known who has my son.
The dynamics between her and Al were, I think, at the very heart of what this case was about. Prior to Gannon going missing, the relationship between her and Al was deteriorating rapidly. In those phone calls, she's constantly talking about and trying to talk Al into supporting her through this entire thing. She felt like Gannon was the key to draw Al in closer to her and to keep that relationship going.
Did you talk to an attorney and file for divorce?
I have not filed anything yet. I'll give you the straight up honest truth. And we're at the same point now, unfortunately, 3 weeks later, I was not getting the whole truth. Even yesterday when we were talking, it wasn't adding up, and it still isn't. There's 3 or 4 different versions.
Neither Al nor investigators are fully believing Leticia's accounts of what happened to Gannon.
You know where an 11-year-old is, and I am here telling you we could go find him, and you are not giving us his location, alive or dead.
I did not hurt my child, okay?
It's mid-February 2020. Officials in Colorado have been searching for weeks for a young boy, 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. While initially reported to police by Gannon's stepmother, Leticia Stauch, she's been providing several versions of what happened, and they don't seem to be adding up. At one point, when speaking to Al, Gannon's biological father, who's working with authorities, Leticia brings up another possible player in the case.
Someone was following us. There was this pregnant lady. So I agreed to help the pregnant lady. When I realized she's not pregnant once she gets in the car, I just was supposed to walk in Petco, look around, be normal, go drop this lady off somewhere.
So she told you to walk into Petco?
She forced me. It's just being caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time with people who are money laundering, wanting me to deliver paper to these Mexican restaurants, and you're supposed to get packages back from them. And I wouldn't do it.
You want me to believe you, but I feel like you're just telling me something to make me feel better about Gannon missing. It's kind of like the Quincy Brown thing. I mean, now it's a pregnant lady with cash in her belly.
I'm innocent.
It took a lot of strength on Al's part to go through those recorded phone calls. He had to keep his cool and not let her know that the noose was tightening, that she was quickly becoming the focal point of the investigation.
What is wrong with you?
What's wrong is my son's missing and you keep lying to me, okay? That's what's wrong. Okay, fine. Give me my son back. Tell the truth. Give me my son back.
I don't have him.
Where's he at then?
You're ridiculous.
Who has him? You haven't answered not one of my questions. You're not doing nothing but lying to me and sending me in a different direction than what you know is the truth.
But then, detectives learn new information that changes the course of the whole investigation.
One of the first days I covered this little missing boy, the neighbors were doing whatever they could. And I got to speaking with Roderick Drayton. He said, you know what? I live just a few doors down and my camera faces their house. He calls me back and says, you're gonna wanna come back down here. I found the video. I found him in the car with Leticia.
He was lethargic early on the morning of the 27th. The way he walks out to the truck clearly showed that he was under the influence of some sort of drug.
And one more thing points to Leticia Stauch. Evidence is found at the Stauch's home, suggesting Gannon was possibly killed there.
When Leticia calls 911, the police actually go out to the scene and walk through the house. And there's nothing immediately apparent that would suggest something bad had happened. It really goes to the idea that she did an extensive job of cleaning up the crime scene. And then when we go into Gannon's bedroom, you could see very fine blood staining on the walls, so small that it was hard to see with the naked eye.
The investigators, they find blood and DNA all over the home. And the most chilling part of where they find the blood in his bedroom is it's underneath his mattress, underneath the carpet pad, and soaked into the concrete below. And that tells you how much blood came from this young child. Through the blood, through the forensics, through the ability to track her movements in the time frame of when Gannon was supposedly lost, they're able to piece together that she had a lot more in connection to this case than she initially told law enforcement.
Do you know why you're here? Did they inform you why you're under arrest?
I'm under arrest?
Yes.
For what?
Just over a month after Leticia reported Gannon missing, She's arrested while visiting family in South Carolina.
I'm getting charged with what now?
We found enough, you call it probable cause, for a warrant to be issued.
Okay, a warrant for what though?
It was for the murder.
What
of
murder?
Gannon Stauch.
So Gannon is murdered.
That's what the evidence shows.
Okay.
She's interviewed yet again, this time by the FBI.
There's a lot of stories out there. So if someone truly took Gannon, though, we need to know the real story because you put out quite a few different stories.
The FBI agent tells her, "We heard you telling multiple stories on the phone without." And she says, "Oh, I knew you guys were already recording." She says she was hurt. He wasn't trying to work with her. So she purposely gave him multiple different stories.
I don't think you intended to hurt Gannon at all. Something bad happened in his room.
No.
If you didn't do it, and it helps me find Gannon.
I didn't do it.
Okay, well then help me find out who did.
Who did what?
That to Gannon in his room.
Done what to Gannon in his room?
There's a pool of blood in the corner.
Okay.
That's Gannon's blood.
Where do you think that I had any involvement with Gannon, and where did he go?
You're the last adult with him. You told a lot of lies.
He would lead her down a path, and right at the point where she's going to make a statement that would potentially incriminate herself, she's conscious enough to know that this is occurring, and then she would then pull back.
If you can point me to a different person, then I can help you. If you trusted me to talk to me, you would tell me where Gannon is right now.
I don't know where Gannon is.
You do. If you would have told police the very first night that he was taken forcibly, everything would have been different.
The agent then confronts Leticia on something that raised red flags earlier in the investigation.
Here I even have what you entered in your phone. The stuff that you've entered and deleted, like blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling.
Do what? I didn't look this up.
Well, somebody did from your phone. I don't like my stepson.
No.
I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? How to get blood out of sheets.
Out of sheets?
Mm-hmm.
Her Google searches were massive in this case. How long does it take a body to decompose, face transplants, find people who want to go to jail?
If you did something bad to Gannon, could you ever admit it?
What? I didn't do anything bad to Gannon.
No. Right now, you're the last person with Gannon.
I don't do bad things to people. I don't.
I don't think you do bad things to people.
I don't do bad things to anyone, and I didn't do anything bad to Gannon. Why would I hurt our child? I had everything in the world. Why? I have no motive. None.
But investigators come across a recording from the night when Stauch says Gannon accidentally caused a fire from a candle that sheds a chilling light on their relationship.
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm gonna ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise. You promise.
On purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
There was one video where she was manipulating him on that Sunday night.
We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa, we can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed so the lady don't be mad at us and kick us out the house, okay? You got it? You got it?
I'm just worried about my bird.
Okay, shh, listen.
You hear this little boy's voice and the fear in his voice, and she recorded him. You hear that recording and it's this little boy, I promised I didn't mean to do it, and just his voice shaking and he's crying.
While authorities may know who's responsible for Gannon's disappearance, there's still one major missing piece. Gannon is still nowhere to be found. That's when a case-changing discovery is made hundreds of miles away.
We're here at the bridge next to Scamby County line and reference the suitcase.
It was a heartbreaking day. We got the news that 1,300 miles away, bridge inspectors in Pensacola, Florida, find this suitcase, and everyone's heart sunk.
We were inspecting the bridge, found that suitcase down there, decided we'd open it to see if anything was in it. body rolled out along with what appears to be a comforter.
Investigators discover Leticia rented a van and drove 1,300 miles to Florida with her daughter just days after Gannon's disappearance.
They were tracking her. There was trackers in the rental car, and the way she was going, where she was going. If your kid's missing out of a town in Colorado Springs, why are you leaving? We later found out why. Hotel records right near that bridge from February 4th, that gave us answers.
Authorities believe Leticia tossed this suitcase with Gannon dead inside over a bridge in the middle of the night, while her daughter Harley slept in a nearby hotel room.
Gannon's body was just discarded as if it was trash. He suffered from not only stab wounds, but also a gunshot injury. The bullet that was recovered from Gannon was able to be connected to a gun that was found in Leticia's bedroom.
The handgun that was used actually belonged to Al Stauch. What was really eerie about the way that it was found is that as it was sitting on the dresser, it was actually pointing at a photograph of Gannon.
It looks like he was trying to defend himself and fighting back, but it was a brutal, brutal attack.
He was stabbed 17 times. He was hit over the head 4 times. And then the final injury that he sustained was a gunshot wound to his jaw. He was also given hydrocodone, so he was poisoned by a very strong drug. It really speaks to the horrific hours of Gannon's last hours here on Earth alive.
Leticia is accused of the murder of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch, but the twists in this story aren't quite over with yet.
You asked me, did I kill Gannon? That hurts.
It hurt me to ask it, because you're my wife.
I'm begging you.
Here's-
I want to help, but I can't get in trouble for it.
Okay, and that...
I didn't do it, and I'm not a criminal. I don't kill people.
It's March 2020, and investigators have Leticia Stauch in custody in South Carolina. They believe she stabbed and shot her 11-year-old stepson Gannon to death 2 months earlier in January out in Colorado. Before she can stand trial, Leticia must be transported back to Colorado. But they only make it about halfway when Leticia causes quite a stir.
She keeps threatening me. Stop. Well, she keeps threatening me.
Stop it, Leticia.
Well, she keeps on threatening me. I have stopped it. She keeps on. Well, she got out of the restraints.
We hear of this arrest in South Carolina. Then we know she's coming back here to Colorado for the justice process. Along the way, we get the news she tried to escape. She broke out of her restraints and attacked an agent.
You just got another charge.
Well, she shouldn't be doing me like this.
Attacking a guard, unfortunately, does happen from time to time. The question becomes, what is the trigger? What caused Leticia to do this?
Leticia and authorities arrive back in Colorado where she's set to stand trial. However, now, there's even more delays.
There was always something on her end to delay. There was letters to the judge wanting to represent herself, changing her plea.
She went through at least 2 competency hearings and even a third closer to that trial date. Competency is in a person's ability to participate in their defense and to be tried.
After more than 3 years, in April 2023, Leticia Stauch goes on trial for first-degree murder, tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with evidence. As for Stauch's defense, she entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity.
January 27, 2020, Gannon's home turned into the stuff of nightmares. The one place a little boy like Gannon should have felt the safest is in fact where he was brutally murdered. Evidence in this case will show that she could distinguish between right and wrong. I felt very confident going into the trial, but there's that unknown. You're bringing strangers into the courtroom that have to sit and listen to evidence that's very difficult to listen to. Having to get over the hurdle of proving that she was sane is an added element.
There was an overwhelming amount of evidence, the timelines, the locations of the GPS, even the recordings.
It did come up during the trial that Leticia may suffer from having multiple personalities. And from an insanity defense standpoint, if your client has any kind of mental disease or defect. You throw that all against the wall and see what sticks.
It was an awful, awful thing that was done to Gannon. In the court of public opinion and the media, he's guilty. This is going to come down to insanity.
The issue for that, both for the defense and ultimately the jury in making the decision, is whether or not she had that multiple personality disorder.
Stauch was dealing trauma and abuse that had been going on since she was a toddler. The troubled childhood, that's where the fragmentation personality comes in.
The big thing that stuck out to me was Leticia's demeanor in the courtroom. All eyes were on her. When they're giving the defense's opening statements, that was the only time I saw any reaction, and it was her putting a tissue to her face when they were talking about alleged abuse she went through as a child. Nothing about Gannon.
It's insane. Go from teacher, loving stepmother, loving mother, being a killer of a 11-year-old boy. There was some major psychotic crack.
Much of the state's case focused on just that, Leticia's mental state at the time of the crime, even calling her daughter to the stand.
Had you ever seen your mom change personalities into someone she isn't?
No.
Had she ever been treated for any mental illness in your lifetime?
No.
If there was one person that knew the defendant best, it was Harley Hunt, her own daughter. And having her come in and talk to the jury and the manipulation that she suffered at the defendant's hands went a long ways to show that she was of very sound mind, that she knew exactly what she had done.
Did you ever ask your mom, what are we doing? Why are we leaving?
No, I didn't really question her a lot. I would be told that I'm being like disrespectful or like talking back.
And what would happen if you were being disrespectful or talking back to your mom?
Sometimes she would like backhand me.
The conscious decision to drive Gannon's body all the way down to Florida, how many times Leticia must have been able to think through her actions and maybe have the opportunity to change course, but she didn't.
I'm still in shock. I defended her for years, and I just feel like manipulated and lied to.
You could see how hurt the family was that this was even a argument brought up, that she was insane. They knew her for years and years, and she was totally fine. They trusted her to take care of their kids, and now it's just suddenly a switched argument. Oh, she's insane.
Did Miss Stauch ever give you any self-diagnosis of potential mental illnesses that she felt she had?
She talked a lot about being manic, slipping in and out of reality.
Did she ever bring up anything about having another personality or multiple personalities?
She did not.
She was reading books and was picking up things that she could do or say that would support an insanity defense. And she did those things during different evaluations. She was clearly trying to manipulate that process.
Did you or Dr. Gray ever consider the fact that she could just be making this all up?
Yes.
And then comes Maria, a different personality of Leticia's.
She talks about going into protection mode, and she often references Maria as the protector.
Someone who has dissociative identity disorder, are they going to be able to recall what happens as a different person?
I would think that if Ms. Stauch had dissociated into Maria, there would be a lack of awareness or understanding or memory.
The biggest hurdle, I think, was really the gravity of the injuries that Gannon suffered. It gave us some concerns that it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for a juror to say the only reason that somebody would carry out an attack on an 11-year-old like that is if they were crazy, that they had gone insane.
That's exactly what the defense argued. Not that Leticia didn't commit the killing, but that she was insane at the time and not criminally responsible.
When I was interviewing her over a period of time, suddenly it seemed to me that she was speaking Russian.
Someone was in the home, we don't understand. Someone was in the home.
It looked as though she had switched into a different entity.
Did she describe any alters to you or other personas?
She referred to somebody named Maria. Maria apparently was a physically abusive entity, and when I first saw that, I thought, have I just met the aspect of her personality that killed Gannon?
You don't understand. I had to protect the people that were in the house, okay? Because if someone was in the home, they were gonna molest them, they were gonna kill them. I had to protect them. All I did, okay? And I fired the gun. I did not know, didn't have a safety. I trained to kill them. That's what I do, kill for a living. I took the gun, I fired the gun at someone. They had a cape on, they looked like a dangerous man. Killed the man. Did what I was supposed to do, which I killed the dragon.
When she was speaking in that Maria voice, that gave me goosebumps, because that was the first time I think I heard anything of any admission really of guilt, but it's in this other voice. Their job is to put doubt in the jurors' minds, right? And those videos were certainly compelling.
The case is then delivered to the jury as Leticia's future is placed in their hands to decide.
When you turn a case over to a jury for deliberations, you sit there and you think about, well, could we have done this differently? Did the jury pick up on the things that were important for the case, or did they miss something? Were they paying attention? You just never know until you get that verdict.
There was that feeling of fear, what could happen, but there was just that hope it would be a result soon and there would be justice served.
After nearly 8 hours of deliberations, the jury comes back with their decision.
We, the jury, find the defendant Leticia Stauch guilty.
The jury found that Leticia Stauch was guilty of all crimes straight across the board. It was not surprising to me, after all of those lies and all of those calculations and miscalculations, that the jury thought, you weren't insane, you knew what you were doing, and this is murder in the worst possible way.
You have shown no remorse throughout this process. Instead, you've made a choice to build a web of lies because you didn't want to face the consequences. Your conduct in this case deserves the maximum punishment. I remand you to the custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole.
I remember Gannon's mom telling me after the verdict, and it hurt to hear, that she in her heart knows that Gannon loved this woman in his final breaths. It was just incomprehensible how someone could hate a little boy who loves you.
The idea that a little boy could suffer this sort of horrific attack at the hands of somebody that was supposed to be caring for them is unimaginable. It's something that will always be on my mind. But most importantly, I'll never forget the smile that Gannon had, the stories of how happy he was and how much of a fighter he was, and just the love that he had for his entire family.
This is a tough one. It really, really is. Thinking about what happened to Gannon at the hands of a woman who was supposed to protect him, and based on what we saw with Leticia Stauch, I wouldn't be so hopeful that we'll ever get the straight story of what happened. Now, at the time of this recording, we've actually reached the 4-year anniversary of this young boy's death. And to imagine where his life could have been and what he would be doing today, that to me is the saddest part. Thanks for joining us here on Prime Crime. I'm Jesse Weber, and as always, stay safe. On Prime Crime.
911. There's somebody collapsed in one of our kitchens. Do you know what happened? Somebody just found him on the floor.
An adored chef is killed in cold blood.
I just can't imagine who would want to kill him.
sparking a search for the one who committed this callous murder.
There was no video, there was no eyewitness. It didn't look like anything was really disturbed. It seemed like there was something really personal going on here.
Hey there, everybody, I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down the most compelling and memorable true crime cases. Our next story starts with the sudden killing of a culinary instructor. This left investigators scratching their heads. Who would want to kill this man? A stranger? An enemy? A loved one? Let's find out.
911. Hi, we are at Oregon Culinary Institute. There is somebody collapsed in one of our kitchens.
It's early Saturday morning, June 2nd, 2018, at the Oregon Culinary Institute in Portland. Students walk in, expecting a day of learning techniques and recipes. Yet instead, they discover the body of their instructor, 63-year-old Dan Brophy, lying on the floor of one of the school's kitchens.
He's one of our chefs, and he's an older man.
All right, is he conscious right now?
No, he is not conscious.
Is he breathing?
No, he is not breathing.
Dan Brophy was at his school where he teaches culinary arts, and on that day he was preparing for students to come in. It was just like any other day.
The students had found Chef Brophy lying on his back by the sink. The water was still running. One of the students, Clorinda Perez, actually tried to perform CPR. They assumed that he had maybe had a medical event.
Do you know the cause of this or what happened? Did he just collapse?
We have no idea. Somebody just found him on the floor.
What made it harder at the beginning was we have our initial 911 call, that even that's confusing. The caller's stating, hey, we have an older gentleman down. They didn't even know right away that Dan had been shot.
He's bleeding out of his chest.
Is someone still doing CPR?
Yes, should keep going.
The gunshot wounds were not apparent. There was no pool of blood. There wasn't the classic kind of signs that people imagine. And it wasn't until Clorinda Perez saw blood on her hand that they realized that, oh, this isn't some sort of heart attack.
You're doing a good job. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Do you see any of the responders?
No, they're getting him, but he's
okay.
Dead.
Officials are called to the scene, but they aren't sure what exactly happened or even what to expect when they arrive.
Fire and medical arrived. They realized after examining Chef Brophy's body that he had what appeared to be a possible gunshot strike to his chest. They found 2 spent shell casings lying on the floor.
The patient is an instructor at the location. He's bleeding out of his chest and the ribs are broken. This is a shooting victim.
Okay, we need to figure out if this just happened and where the shooter is.
Because this was a large building and it was a school, they didn't know if it might have been an active shooter situation and if the shooter could still be in the building.
I can hear footsteps upstairs. I don't know if that is related to this building. If somebody could advise.
They went through and methodically cleared the entire building to make sure there was no shooter or suspect still at the scene.
It looks like a lockdown. They don't know where the suspect is, so we need a bunch of people here.
This is a building with exits on multiple streets. If the shooter sounds large, we need to get perimeter going.
After confirming there's no active threat on the property, authorities have to figure out what happened here.
You start immediately thinking motive. Who would want to do this? Why would somebody want to do this?
We treated it like we do any other homicide. We start to separate all the witnesses, and in this situation there were numerous witnesses because there were 2 different classes going on that day. So there were anywhere from 30 to 40 some students.
We started looking at the students first, the students that were there, and then more importantly the students that weren't there that should have been. So we tracked all of them down.
While you've been here, have you noticed homeless people or transients hanging around?
A lot, yeah. I found a couple needles in the bushes right out there by where we smoke.
You know, it kind of looked like, well, given the area of downtown Portland, that, you know, could have been a robbery gone wrong.
A couple months ago, somebody had broke the window.
Did they gain entry into the building or just?
No, they just broke it and they had it fixed up the next day.
Those were some of the things we were thinking. Could this have been maybe a houseless person that came in and wanted to rob the place, but Chef Brophy interrupted it?
There was a homeless man on this side of the street with his back turned towards me. He looked in the recycling bins over there and then kind of peeked around the corner to the parking lot and then just walked up the street.
This was today?
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem that way from him working at the sink and getting shot in the back. There was no video, there was no eyewitness. It didn't look like anything was really disturbed.
One person that became of interest was a guy named Oscar Taylor. I've prosecuted him before. We know him as somebody who steals. He was out looking for cans that morning, which is pretty normal. So we thought, okay, he didn't go canning, walk in, murder Dan for no reason whatsoever, and then just leave. That doesn't make any sense.
You know, he's living from day to day trying to survive canning. I don't expect him to have a $500 Glock handgun in his pocket. There's no signs of forced entry on the building. They don't really find anything as if somebody had done a robbery or something of that nature.
Is there anything of value inside the school or anything that anybody you think would break in to want to take?
I mean, food or equipment is the only real thing that I could think of. I mean, unless there's money in there, but we wouldn't know about that.
One of the things that stood out right away was that Dan's wallet was there with money in it. He had cash in his pocket, his credit cards, debit cards, his ID, his cell phone, his watch, his keys. Nothing was taken. We thought, okay, this maybe is more personal. Maybe this was targeted.
You said there's no students that really don't get along with Chef Brophy.
Oh, everybody loves Chef Brophy. I couldn't think of anybody in that school right now that would be upset with him at all. He's a very, very kind person.
The lack of evidence was pretty telling. When you're looking at the crime scene and you're looking at the video from outside the crime scene, and you don't see anybody fleeing. There's nobody running down the sidewalk. There's no car speeding away.
Everyone liked Dan, everyone respected Dan. He was passionate. His students respected him and loved him. They adored him. Nobody had a bad thing to say about him. He worked them hard, and that's what they respected most about him because he brought the best out of them.
Investigators aren't sure at this point how to piece together who killed Chef Brophy, and they need to get a better understanding of his life. That's when they decide to speak with his wife, 67-year-old Nancy Brophy. Perhaps she could provide some clues as to who may have done this to her husband.
So Nancy, I think some people kind of notified you that something was going on.
Just what they heard on the news. KGW said that there was a shooting, there was one fatality.
Nancy was from Texas. She decided she was going to go into the culinary world, and that's where she met Dan. In the early 90s, Dan was actually her instructor. They got together, and they eventually got married in '99.
Nancy wore a lot of hats. She was developing her writing. She was working on some books. She sold insurance. She also sold Medicare coverage. Nancy and Dan had been married for years. They were known to love each other, and they were always with each other.
Sometimes it's the people closest to the victim that can provide the best information.
I just can't imagine who would want to kill him. He wasn't that kind of guy. You know, I've never even known him to have a confrontation with anybody.
Back on June 2nd, 2018, culinary students discover 63-year-old cooking instructor Dan Brophy shot to death on the floor of a kitchen at the Portland, Oregon Culinary Institute. Investigators are exploring every avenue to determine who would want Chef Brophy dead. Hours after the murder, Dan's wife, 67-year-old Nancy Brophy, arrives downtown at the school.
The wife of the victim just showed up.
Where's she at?
She's 17 in Jefferson, and she has not been notified.
We were just kind of standing around, and that's when Nancy Brophy first got to the crime scene. I just remember that very vividly. She was just standing there, didn't show any emotion. She was just kind of there.
Police initially met with Nancy to let her know that her husband was killed. It was something that's normal with every homicide that takes place.
We took Nancy Brophy into the van that's set up for interviews. I thought, this looks pretty complicated here. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I think maybe we should record the notification with her. Detective Darren Posey began asking her questions.
What time did he leave this morning? from your guys' place?
He left, I'm going to say 7-ish, maybe 7:05. That's about the time he normally leaves.
Okay.
We need to learn as much as we can about Chef Brophy's activities that morning, what he did, what he's last doing, if there was anything going on, problems, grievances with other people.
Were you guys up earlier this morning or anything?
He's up there early every morning.
He's an early riser.
He has his little list of things he does. You know, he walks the dogs, he feeds the chickens.
She said that he had come up and taken a shower upstairs in the master bedroom area while she was in bed, and then he left.
I didn't sleep well. I woke up when he came up for a shower. He used to shower downstairs, but you'll see stitches on his hand because last week in the shower, our shower door shattered. He's not having a good week. Oh, that sounded good.
So after he got his shower this morning, though,
yeah, he managed to. He didn't need a spotter.
Okay. So, and then you think he left like around 7. The next thing you know, after that, when did you hear something?
Maxine called me. She said, "What do you know about what's going on at OCI?" And I said, "I don't know anything. What's going on?" And she said, "Well, it's on the news." And I said, "Okay." And she told me what she had heard.
A mutual friend of hers and Dan's, Maxine, called Nancy.
Maxine kind of filled her in and, asked her if she was going to go down to the Culinary Institute. And Nancy's reply to me was fairly odd. She said that she wasn't, because something along the lines of there was going to be too many cops, or there was going to be a lot of cops around there. And then she gets a call from Dan's mom, Karen. And then it was really when Karen insisted that she needed to go down there. That's apparently when Nancy decided that she needed to.
As investigators push for more information, they look for possible suspects from Dan's life.
Is he typically the first person that opens up in the morning?
No, Yadu is.
Yadu?
I think Yadu gets here in the middle of the night because it seems to me like Yadu is always here.
And that's the cleaning guy, correct?
Yes.
Somebody whose name came up was a janitor that may or may not have been there that night before, or maybe even that morning.
Was there any kind of issues with Yadu or any kind of issues with anybody at the school?
You know how Dan is not hail-filled well met. We had no communication issues. I'm not trying to make it sound that way, but he's not a chatter.
We had alarm panel codes, and so we had the history of the alarm panel. We know nobody was there the night before or the morning of before Dan.
Here's the other thing. He doesn't harbor grudges. When he first went to work at Western Culinary, God, I'm going to have to tell you stories here. There was another chef that really disliked him. Dan said, "He's just a guy with a different opinion than mine." And he just never, in 25 years of teaching, I have never heard him badmouth a student one time, ever.
Dan Brophy was a beloved teacher. But in terms of who could have killed him, we know it's 7-something in the morning. Could it have been a student that was upset with him? Could it have been just someone with some mental health issues that just went off that day? Or could it have been someone else that he knew that wanted his teacher position or wanted his job? We just don't know.
She made it very clear that nobody would want to hurt Dan. He wasn't abusive at home. He wasn't secretly doing side deals with people. He went to work, tended his chickens, and lived a pretty simple life.
There's no, like he was like, "Oh man, this person's really got it out for me," or
no.
None of that kind of.
And that wouldn't be how he thought anyway.
Okay.
Dan kind of is his own little world. God, that makes him sound incompetent. He's not.
I know.
Where to turn in a case where it seemed no one wanted Dan Brophy dead?
Even if you find who shot him, it's not going to bring him back. And I want him back. I don't care about who shot him. I just want him back. I don't want him dead.
2018, Portland, Oregon. Investigators are working to determine who shot and killed culinary instructor Daniel Brophy in a teaching kitchen where he worked at the Oregon Culinary Institute. He had been shot twice through the heart. As police try to learn more information about Dan from his wife, Nancy Brophy, a self-published romance author, they realize her behavior and answers are a bit off.
When they met with Nancy, Nancy very talkative, inserting herself a little bit. But more shocking was when they let her know that her husband is a person that was killed.
I just want to let you know that we believe it's Dan that's been killed.
Yeah, I kind of got that when everybody gave me the sad sack look.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I figured that by the way that people were looking at me. You're being told that the love of your life, this person that you just saw this morning, this person that you've been with for over 10 years, was just killed and there's no reaction.
The unusual thing was she never asked us, is my husband okay? Is he doing okay? Prior to her finally being notified that he was in fact deceased.
Is there anybody that you know of that wanted to do something to Dan? Everybody I've heard from so far is like, Dan's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
You know, and students seem to like him and everything. Why
He's
would
not a
somebody do
rabble
something?
rouser. I mean, he just... It took me 4.5 years to convince him to marry me. You know?
She was giggling, she was laughing, she was being very talkative. She wasn't in shock.
But then, Nancy finally starts asking questions, which leads to some interesting details.
We're just trying to figure out what, you know, and that's why I'm asking some of these kind of questions.
Can you tell me what happened, as far as you know?
He was shot.
With an AR-15?
No, I don't know what he was shot with. Why do you say AR-15?
Because school shootings are all AR-15s now.
Was it an AR-15 that killed him? And we just were like, what? It just seemed like an unusual question. I realize and understand that there's always shock and different reactions that people have in a time of such trauma. So we didn't pay too much attention to it.
Does Dan own any kind of guns at all, or does he carry a gun at all for any reason? For protection
okay, you're going to be so embarrassed. I'm kind of embarrassed. After the Marjorie Douglas Stoneman shooting in February, we talked about it, and I said, maybe we ought to buy a gun. And he said, okay. And so there was a gun show, and I went down and bought a gun.
Nancy disclosed that back in February, they had purchased a Glock 17 9mm. She said that they got it home, they took it out of the box, they looked at it, they thought it was ugly, heavy, kind of scared them a little bit, and so she just put it away and never did anything with it.
I bought this gun, I got it home, we looked at it, and neither one of us wanted it. And so it's still on my closet shelf, and it still has that little plastic band around the shooter thing. We've never even bought bullets for it.
Is it a pistol, or is it
it's
a
a
rifle?
Glock. It's a handgun.
So at first we're thinking, well, if she is the murderer, there's no way this is the gun. She just voluntarily turned it over. So we tested it, and it was not a match.
We knew the gun she got from the gun show was not the gun that shot Dan Brophy. She liked to have hands-on experience with props and things that she used in her books.
I work with a bunch of writers. I'm a writer too. I write romantic suspense. And I work with all these writers, and everybody has a gun.
The thing, though, that didn't fit is that she bought approximately $1,500 worth of guns and gun parts during this time frame leading up to her husband's murder.
It was heavy. Well, of course, you know how heavy a gun is. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
it was heavy, and it felt terrible handling it. It was like...
Just wasn't something you guys did?
No. Real frankly, I couldn't imagine ever needing it.
We did a search of one of her storage units, and we found a box. And sure enough, they opened up the box, and there were scarves, and purses, and a Glock kit. It was a ghost gun. We thought, oh my gosh, this must be it. This must be the murder weapon. But as we got looking closer at the physical gun itself, we realized that she never built it.
Nancy had done searches on ghost guns and just guns in general. And it turns out that Nancy had purchased ghost gun pieces online. However, she failed to mention to law enforcement that she had purchased a ghost gun piece, a slide, from eBay.
We have experts that can test to determine which shell casings came out of which gun. The part that leaves the mark on the shell casing comes from the slide and barrel of the gun. So in theory, you could take a slide and barrel off of one gun and put it on an identical lower unit and it would work. The big question was, well, where's the slide and barrel from eBay? That's the only firearm piece that law enforcement was never able to locate.
With no murder weapon directly connecting Nancy to the crime, investigators begin to question, why would she kill Dan? They discover a key piece of evidence that could change this whole investigation.
We had a great marriage, but the only people I know who have ever hated him was his ex-wife, and which ex-wife doesn't hate the husband? You know, and I can't believe after 25 years she'd be motivated. I mean, short of that, we live a quiet life.
Everybody around him thought they had a great relationship. They seemed to be doing fine until 2016. 2016 is where things we could see started to derail. You know, Nancy was management and she controlled pretty much all aspects of their life. Most importantly, their finances.
They had a lot of financial issues and financial troubles, from taking out loans on their pension to their 401k, to paying down their debt, to thinking about selling their property.
They weren't paying their mortgage on time. There was repeated times where the mortgage just didn't get paid. But ironically, she's buying all these Glock parts and guns. Simultaneously, she's prioritizing paying for life insurance policies, and these are in Dan's name, some of them. So it looked very suspicious to us.
She would take out $35,000 on their 401k, and she would spend it on, you know, getting the yard cleaned up and vacations. And then she, of course, spent part of that money on firearms and firearm accessories.
But having financial problems doesn't mean Nancy's a murderer, or does it?
I know this is selfish, but what am I going to do without him? How am I going to get through?
It's not selfish. No, don't you worry.
You know, I should be worried about him, and all I can think about is, oh my God.
Yeah, take one step at a time, okay?
I know.
There's not a lot of things you can do right now.
As detectives try to sort out what actually happened to Dan Brophy, days after the murder, they receive a strange phone call from Nancy.
This may give you a laugh this afternoon. I don't want to be the stupid question of the day, but I think I need to be the stupid question of the day.
Nancy called and asked the investigator, I know this is weird, but can I get a letter and say that I'm not a suspect, that I wasn't involved? And I prosecuted homicides for over 10 years, and this is the first time I've ever heard this.
My insurance company said, just have the detective write a letter that you're no longer a suspect. My sister, when I told her this as a lawyer, laughed so hard she fell out of the chair.
If you listen to that call, Detective Posey is caught off guard.
Why would you need that?
They don't want to pay if it turns out that I secretly slipped down to the school and shot my husband because I thought, hey, going into old age without Dan after 25 years, it's really what I'm looking for, you know?
Okay. Well, we never would do something like that.
I really didn't think so.
It was just an odd phone call in general. I mean, she's laughing. She's very much downplaying it.
This is such a stupid little policy. I can't believe they're making me jump through the hoops like this. This is only $40,000. The other thing is, I said, what happens if, in fact, this case never gets resolved? And they said, well, that has to go up to the supervisors to be evaluated. And I'm thinking, great.
It was something that gave some additional insight to this investigator. Wait, hold up, insurance policies? And it wasn't just the $40,000, there were also other insurance policies totaling over $1 million.
Let me ask you my next question, which I know you're going to give me a vague answer, but have you got enough things that you really think you know, or you think you've got the potential to solve it at this point?
We are looking at a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things to go through and review.
Real frankly, I want you to take as long as it takes because I want us to find this person.
Nancy seems to be a very weird person. Just her interaction and how she had this conversation with this investigator. So it was definitely a red flag.
We did a lot of work trying to find a suspect that was not Nancy Brophy and to try to rule out that there was no other motive person that had a problem with Dan. There was nothing else suspicious or anything else that led us a different direction.
Based on her statements, behavior, and activities leading up to Dan's death, detectives narrow in on Nancy as their likely suspect. But there's something else a bit curious about romance novelist Nancy Brophy.
One of the investigators Googled Nancy Brophy's writings and learned that she had written an essay several years ago called How to Murder Your Husband. And it talked about police tactics, avoiding detection by law enforcement if you were to carry out a murder of your spouse.
Another odd detail. Maybe Nancy did kill Dan to collect life insurance money and to live out her retirement years without him. But a lot of this is purely circumstantial, and there's still not quite enough evidence to charge her.
He's a wonderful guy. He really is a wonderful guy. Oh, man.
It's summer 2018, and Portland investigators suspect 67-year-old romance novelist Nancy Brophy may have shot and killed her own husband, 63-year-old chef Dan Brophy, as he was preparing his kitchen at the Oregon Culinary Institute for a Saturday class. A potential financial motive to kill, suspicious firearm-related purchases, strange comments to police, and literally authoring an essay on how to kill your husband all look bad for Nancy Brophy. However, there's nothing concrete tying her to the crime until we take a closer look at the scene.
As we continue to investigate, we learn that there's no video surveillance on the premises in the interior of OCI.
Detective Merrill and Detective Posey came to me and said, hey, do you want to walk around and look for a surveillance video with us? Which is not something we normally do, but we walked across the street to Bellagio's Pizza and we all watched the video together. When the first pass goes by of this kind of silvery tan-ish minivan, I don't even know that we noticed it on the first pass. We didn't really, I think, pay it much attention until we saw it after the time of the homicide as well.
What kind of vehicles do you guys drive? You guys each have your own vehicles?
He has a white truck, and I have a Toyota van.
What color is that?
Gray.
What year is that one?
2007.
It was Detective Posey, actually. He's like, hey, isn't that Nancy's van that we just saw her drive away in? And we start looking at it, and we're slowing it down, we're rewinding it, pausing it, doing still images, and it looks exactly like the van we just saw. And not only that, right as the van crosses in front of Bellagio, it stops for a stop sign. And as it stops, you can see the driver appears to look just like Nancy Brophy.
I didn't get out of bed.
Oh, you just kind of woke up and you were alert.
Yeah, and he got dressed and left.
She said that she never got out of bed from their master bedroom upstairs, that she was working on a book.
Our ears perked up quite a bit. Just what are the chances of the same exact type of minivan, the same rims, same lights, has this particular scratch in it? And then it wasn't just a scratch, I mean, it was a pretty significant scrape down the side. And so really to connect the van to Nancy, it was that sticker in the window. Dan's mom, Karen, explained that that minivan used to belong to Jack and Karen Brophy, and that they had given that minivan to Nancy when she needed a vehicle. That was a church parking lot sticker in the corner of the van. We were able to verify it was in fact the church parking sticker.
The van was spotted in the area without any reason to be in that area at that time.
If somebody says they're not there when their husband's getting murdered, but the video shows otherwise, that's a huge problem.
Nancy Brophy is arrested and later charged with the second-degree murder of her own husband.
When they put handcuffs on her, she said, "Oh, you must think I killed my husband," which I thought was not something you say when being arrested for your husband's murder.
4 years after Dan Brophy's murder, prosecutors lay out the case for the jury in the criminal trial of Nancy Brophy.
On the surface, the Brophies appeared to their friends and family to be a couple in love who were entering the next stage of life. Financial struggles really began to develop in 2016. By late 2017, financial despair evident and no end in sight, Nancy started researching and planning the murder of Dan Brophy.
The prosecution put forward that yes, they had a lot of financial issues and financial troubles.
Nancy made claims on 10 separate life insurance policies, in which she was the beneficiary of over $1.4 million. Eventually, all of the evidence and all of the leads all pointed back to Nancy Brophy.
Prosecutors call several witnesses over the course of the trial to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Nancy murdered Dan. These include detectives.
We couldn't figure out any other motive of what happened that day because it didn't look like a burglary, a robbery. There were no grudges against Dan.
An accountant.
I reviewed bank accounts. There were insurance payments for 6 different life insurance accounts. It was a Wells Fargo home mortgage. I did see a lot of months where there was loan delinquency.
And an investigative analyst.
That X in the middle, is that public shooting range?
Yes, the North Fork Wolf Creek Public Range.
That morning, March 26, 2018, you're detecting Nancy Brophy's phone starting around the area of her home, heading out Highway 26 into that area.
Yes.
But it was some of the first witnesses that really set the stage.
So you're in the lounge area at the table. What's the next thing that you remember?
The next thing I remember is a student, a fellow student, yelling, "Call 911." I came to her to see what she needed. I think I had my phone in my hand already, and I dialed 911.
I went to Dan and tried to figure out what was going on. I knelt down beside him, and I didn't know what to do, so I held his hand. I wanted to see if he would squeeze it back, and he didn't, so it was obvious that Dan was gone.
They knew Dan too. It was personal for them. They all loved and respected him, and they tried to save his life. When those people testify and they're feeling that emotion all over again and the jury sees that, it's pretty powerful.
But unfortunately for prosecutors, they ran into some difficulty with a key piece of evidence, the 2011 essay authored by Nancy entitled "How to Murder Your Husband."
We were trying to introduce it, trying to show the jury that she has the knowledge of how to do it. This could be helpful to a jury, but it's so prejudicial that it's too much to give that to a jury. It would be too sensational. So the judge, I think, erring on the side of caution, decided to keep it out.
And once the case turned to the defense, Nancy's attorneys took their time, their case lasting weeks, arguing Nancy couldn't possibly be Dan's killer.
Nancy Crampton Brophy firmly believes in life insurance, and her love and concern for her husband was demonstrated in the life insurance choices that she made over the years. The other thing that's important about insurance is legal ownership. Nancy Brophy made Dan Brophy the legal owner of every policy that insured his life.
I kind of thought, well, what were they supposed to do? They weren't working with much. All they could do is try to distract away from all of that evidence and try to humanize Nancy as much as they could.
The state suggests that Nancy Brophy's life was going to get a lot better when Dan was gone. They're wrong. Nancy was lost after Dan was killed. It was as though the earth had fallen away from her feet. Nancy Brophy did not kill her husband.
The most difficult part about the prosecution's case is the love story that both Nancy and Dan had.
They had a wonderful relationship. They worked very well together. This was a relationship, one of the only ones that I know of, that I thought, if that's what marriage is like, I would want that.
It seemed to be an ideal marriage. They personally, I think, were very well suited to each other, a sort of yin and yang, and they just seemed to, just really enjoy each other.
There was no inclination that there were any troubles in the sense of there was any infidelity, that there were any arguments, that they were bickering, or that they couldn't stand each other. They couldn't find anything that could have been brewing to lead to Dan being killed by his wife.
Then Nancy Brophy took the stand herself, and her testimony caught everyone's attention.
Had you ever met a guy anything like Dan Brophy before you met him?
No. He was unique. He loved me, and I loved him back.
The person that the jury and all jurors usually want to hear from is the defendant themselves. She was on the stand for hours. What happened on that day? Why did you lie about where you were at? Why is it that now you can't remember where you were at or what you did that day?
I'm reconstructing this based upon what I know in my heart. And what I know in my heart is the reason why I have no memory is because I was stunned by the fact Dan was dead. And I wouldn't have been stunned if I'd been in the building and shot him.
She testified fine on direct examination with her attorneys. When she knew what the questions were going to be, she was very comfortable.
Did they tell you that they had video of you near the murder scene?
Yes.
Did you believe that was true?
Not for 1 second. I thought, they're making this up. This isn't true.
It wasn't until cross-examination that just went completely off the rails.
You talked about the interview with the police and how you just found out your husband died and told them the whole story about why and how you purchased it.
Dan owned half a block. I told him about the full block. I answered him the best way I knew how.
Why didn't you just say, yes, we have a gun?
I was trying to be helpful to the police at this point. I thought they were going to find my husband the killer. I didn't think they were going to say, let's look at the one person who didn't kill him.
The longer that she was on that stand, she just became so combative. Two different people between the prosecution and the defense.
The slide and barrel is what is at issue, right?
Yes.
You have a gun, complete, slide and barrel intact. You know how to remove it. In fact, you did. You can manipulate the slide and barrel separate and apart from the rest of the gun. But you chose to buy the exact same piece. Why in the world, when you already own this exact piece, you would need to buy another one days later?
What I can tell you is it was for writing. It was not to, as you would have it, murder my husband.
The jury's looking at her, wait, you're not coming off as that mild-mannered, I wouldn't hurt a fly type person that the defense is trying to sell us.
You think you have relevant evidence to a murder investigation, and you don't think you should mention it to the police?
Even though I marked it, how is a gun kit relative evidence?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you because I don't think it is, because it's never been put together.
Then why would you mark it for the police?
Because I figured the police would come back and want to know.
Nancy Brophy should not have testified, especially since she wasn't going to be able to provide you an answer as to what were her whereabouts on the day of the murder.
The day of June 2nd, not only is there a memory hole, but I have a hard time making it clear what I actually remember.
There were so many things that she could remember during our notification with her. And then for the defense to come in and say, well, she had retrograde amnesia, causing her to not recall the events that morning, it just didn't sit well with me.
You have no memory of driving around downtown on the morning of June 2nd. How can you sit here today and say that I was driving around writing?
If I was down there, that's what I was doing. I do know, based upon the timestamps, that I was only down there for 6 minutes or less from the time that he signed into the building until you see me again leaving the area.
How do you know you didn't go in the building?
I know I didn't go in the building because I didn't kill Dan. I know that for a fact.
After weeks of testimony and a day and a half of deliberations, jurors return their decision.
We, the jury, do find our verdicts as follows. Count 1, murder in the second degree, guilty.
I was surprised. Based on her testifying, her performance while she was on the stand, that played a huge role in jury deliberations and the quickness of their verdict. That just goes to show you that they did not find her to be believable.
Following her conviction, Nancy Brophy was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
I felt relief that we had put all this work into this case. We worked our butts off. I've never written so many search warrants in my life. We just kept going every direction it led us, and we ruled out all the other things, and we felt very confident Nancy Brophy shot and killed Daniel Brophy.
And I think for the family and everybody involved, it was probably the final piece was getting that sentence handed down. And frankly, 25 years, I think we figured she'd be about 92 when she'd be eligible for release, which there's no guarantee, especially somebody who's defiant and will never admit that they did anything.
But it's the question that the family will love to know, friends will love to know, the public will love to know. Why would you kill your husband who didn't cheat on you, didn't hurt you, didn't hit you, gave you everything, praised you? That's a question that will always remain unanswered.
What a case. Started with a dead body, a potential school shooting, possibly the work of a stranger or enemy, and it all came full circle to one of the closest people in Dan Brophy's life. It seems like one takeaway from this story: never judge a book by its cover. That's all we have for you here on this episode of Prime Crime, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, stay safe.